Money is a curious beast. It has a way of picking its favorite. Notice how some people seem to attract money effortlessly, while others seem to work twice as hard, but can't seem to make ends meet. It's not a case of luck or fate. It's the hidden patterns we weave in our lives, without even realizing it. I want to share something personal with you. Oh no. I used to spend years wondering why money slipped through my fingers like sand. I was working long hours, saving money, and doing everything that the book said was supposed to be done. And yet, I was stuck. The key was when I stopped blaming the world and started looking within. But what I discovered shook me to the core. Money isn't just dollars and coins and numbers in a bank account. No, money is energy that responds to our thinking, feeling, and behavior. If money doesn't love you, it is sending you signals, and most people miss them because they're busy pursuing the next paycheck or opportunity. The first indication that money does not love you is quite subtle yet potent. Your mind and thoughts revolve around money, but this time with an element of fear as opposed to possibility. Each time you make an expenditure, an element of fear creeps into your heart. You keep checking the bank account several times a day, this time due to an element of desperation, as opposed to awakening. Consider human relationships for a moment. What happens when you are clingy to someone because you are afraid of losing them? This person feels like they are suffocating and ends up backing away. This applies to money as well. Desperation will give off a kind of negative energy that will ward off money in your life. I recall counting my bank account balance 5 times before even purchasing a cup of coffee. Such cautious monitoring is nothing short of an expression of the poverty mentality. Financial awareness and responsibility have nothing to do with it. The poverty mentality plays out in so many areas within your life every day. You catch yourself saying, "I can't afford that," before even looking at the price tag. Wow. These statements become habitual thoughts that condition your unconscious mind to associate with lack. Your brain is incredibly capable and works hard to validate all of your thoughts and opinions. By constantly affirming that scarcity exists, your mind will find a way to create more scarcity for you. Well, this isn't about positive thinking, pretending that you have money when you don't, but about changing from a closed, scarcity-oriented relationship with money to an open, possibility-focused relationship. Another aspect related to this first sign is the way you experience when you spend money on yourself. Do you experience guilt when you buy something good for yourself? Well, does it seem wasteful to you to treat yourself? Feeling guilty when you spend money on yourself indicates that you believe you do not deserve financial abundance. I used to feel guilty about spending money on books that could help me improve. Every single purchase, no matter how insignificant, needed justification. But what was not clear to me was the fact that the guilty feelings were telling money that its presence is not welcomed in this life. Why would any person, including money, like to stick around someone who feels guilty about using their services? For example, people who are wealthy see money in a completely different way. In their case, money serves as a facilitator of experiences, problem solver, and value creator in their lives and in the lives of others. These individuals do not store money in their vaults for fear of not having it in the future or squander money out of desperation. The money mindset based on fear is also reflected in how you think about rich people. And now, do you criticize rich people? Think they're greedy or that they must have done something wrong in order to get their money? It all creates a subconscious barrier against becoming wealthy. Your subconscious is constantly listening to your inner dialogue. When you speak negatively of money or people who have money, you are effectively telling your mind that a rich individual is a bad person. Because most people want to think of themselves as a good person, your mind will not allow you to become wealthy. I found myself making such conclusions all the time. People who drove fancy cars were probably compensating for something. People who have large homes are materialistic and have no debt. Entrepreneurs who have achieved success have probably ripped off their workers to get to the top. And all such beliefs were like poverty chains that were dressed up as morality. In reality, money multiplies who you are. When good people have money, they do good. When bad people have money, they do bad. Money in itself is nothing. When you make amends with money and wealthy people, a huge gap in wealth will be removed between you and money. Ow. The second sign that money doesn't love you is far sneakier. You are always undervaluing yourself in every aspect of your life. This shows up in accepting lower payments than you are worth, not negotiating, being in jobs that don't pay you properly, or not being paid properly in your business endeavor. Undervaluing yourself is not humility. That is self-betrayal. Well, with each passing instance of you accepting less than you are worth, you are essentially telling yourself and the world that you do not deserve abundance. Here is a self-fulfilling prophecy that keeps you mired in mediocrity when it comes to your finances. I had been accepting whatever salary was negotiated for me for many years. I caught myself thinking that I was lucky just to be working. I had convinced myself that asking for more money might mean I was thought of as selfish or worse, ungrateful. All of this was fear masquerading as professionalism. But the moment of truth arrives. They negotiate with suppliers, vendors, partners, and even their competitors. It became a normal business practice. When I did not negotiate my salary, I wasn't being modest. I was being penny-wise and pound-foolish. When you're not standing up for your financial value, you're effectively training others and the system as a whole to underpay you. They and others will come to understand that you are willing to settle for less, so they continue to give you less. Unfortunately, this isn't just true for your income. It affects every one of your financial dealings. If you freelance or have a business, undercharging is another form of self-sabotage. You may think you're being competitive and or that you need to gain clients, but sometimes it goes beyond that. This is a belief that you're not worthy of being charged a lot of money. I used to charge half the price that my competitors charged for the same services. This was justified since I was still relatively new or not as experienced. Nonetheless, my results were excellent. My customers received invaluable services. The only one who did not appreciate my value was myself. Undervaluing oneself actually shows up in how you allow yourself to be treated. Oh no. Do you let people dishonor you at work? Do you let their damaged faces make you stay because you think you wouldn't find anywhere else? Do you let people rip you off? These kinds of circumstances do not seem related to money, but they are. Your financial reality is directly affected by how you allow yourself to be treated. Respectful individuals command respect. Respect produces good opportunities, good money, and an abundance of everything else. Think of the most successful people you know. They have strong boundaries. They understand their self-worth. They do not apologize for their high price tag. It is not ego. It is healthy self-respect that invites financial abundance. I learned this lesson the hard way when I provided free work for months, hoping it would open doors to paid work. It didn't. The truth is, people appreciate what they pay for. When you provide your time and expertise for free, without any purpose, they will subconsciously devalue it. There's a distinction between strategic generosity and undervaluing. Strategic generosity involves giving within boundaries. Giving out of calculated strategies may mean assisting a cause you are passionate about, or providing an opportunity for something particular to happen. Undervaluing occurs when you give due to lack, low self-esteem, or duty. Fear of requesting what you are worth is based on a belief of scarcity. Because you believe that nobody will hire you when you charge higher, you'll be let go if you ask for a raise. Now, here's what actually happens when you begin to put a price tag on yourself. Of course, not everyone will say yes. Clients will look for cheaper services. Employers might refuse to give you that raise. And this is actually excellent, because you are creating room for others who will pay you what you are worth. When I finally raised my prices to equal my worth, I lost a few clients. I won't lie. It was a scary process at first. However, an incredible thing happened. New clients arrived with an appreciation for quality, paying me generously when I delivered it to them. My income wasn't impacted adversely. Instead, it rose significantly since I was finally bringing in quality clients. Self-value does not have anything to do with setting unrealistic demands or ridiculously high compensations. It only involves having an honest assessment of yourself and your value and requiring an equal trade in return. It involves valuing your time and skills enough to have them valued by others. This applies no matter whether you are an employee, freelancer, entrepreneur, or investor. You need to know your worth. Be clear about it. Do not apologize for it. Be unshakable in your assessment of it, even when others challenge it. Being unshakable in assessing one's own worth is irresistibly attractive to money. Another aspect of undervaluing oneself is remaining in a situation which does not further one's own progress. Perhaps it is a career path in which one has not been stimulated for a number of years. Perhaps it is indeed an economic model which hinders one's own potential. Well, a comfort zone is always feeling safe, but it is actually a prison cell that hinders growth in finances. When money doesn't love you, it is possibly because you're not loving yourself enough to go after bigger opportunity. I held a job 3 years too long because it was comfortable. I knew the routine. I knew the people. The paycheck was regular. However, I was not growing as a person or as a professional. I was not sharpening my skills or increasing my salary. In other words, I was exchanging safety for stagnation. That moment, as soon as I made the decision to grow, rather than to be comfortable, everything shifted. At first, it was downright scary. There were shortcomings in my skills as I stretched myself in new ways. I was confronted with uncertainty, with risk, yet strengths I never knew I had began to emerge. Money attracts people who have enough esteem for themselves to be interested in improvement. It attracts those people who bet on themselves, take calculated risks, and don't settle. When you begin to treat yourself as if you have worth, money appears to help with that. The third sign that money doesn't love you might be the most important of all. This is the lack of financial discipline on your part. This doesn't necessarily imply that you are irresponsible. This only implies that instead of being proactive when it comes to managing your finances, you react to the way things happen to you. Financial discipline does not mean ascetic living. and budgeting that drains the joy out of life. It's about making informed choices that are guided by your values and desires. It's understanding where your money goes and making sure that's all part of a larger picture. Perhaps the biggest misconception about frugal people is the one I had about myself. No, I believed I was frugal because I wasn't buying designer goods or going on exotic holidays. But in reality, the money was slipping out in scores of ways without my even realizing it. Subscriptions, impulse buys, and convenience spending in the thousands. Lack of intentionality revealed itself in the lack of financial goal. No. While I did have the goal of being wealthy one day, this was not a proper goal because it was not measured or time-bound, and I was not judging myself against it. Hope is not a plan. Daydreaming about having financial abundance without making any efforts will never bring results like watering seeds and expecting a crop without sun or attention. Finances are very responsive to attention, intention, and action. A lack of financial management sends conflicting signals to the universe. You want money, yet you can't even manage what you already possess. Why should additional money be brought to a person who can't even take care of what they have? This has nothing to do with morals or shame. Most people never knew how to practice fiscal responsibility. It's never taught in school. It's never demonstrated in families. It's all on us to learn on our own, but typically at great expense. The good news, though, is that financial self-control is something that anybody can learn. It begins with awareness. Where is your money going? Not where you think you're sending it or where you want to send it, but actually. I kept every penny accounted for a month. All coffees, all app purchases, all bills. The numbers shocked me. I realized I was spending a lot of money on stuff that added nothing to my life. That alone changed how much I spend. Financial intentionality is about prioritizing and applying finances based on values and goals. If you value health, investing in appropriate food and exercise is intentional spending. If you value education, spending on learning and acquiring education is appropriate and intentional. If you value experiences, spending on travel is intentional. This occurs when your financial behaviors don't reflect your spend. You place value in family, yet you have yet to fund it in your life. Value in growth, yet growth investments are absent. Your life and financial goals include retirement in comfort, yet your financial outputs reflect nothing of this. These imbalances give rise to inner turmoil that prevents money from moving. Oh no. You can't realistically count on money to be behind goals that you're not actively pursuing. You can't declare your values and spend money unaligned with them. I recognized the fact that I was spending funds on filling emotional gaps instead of purchasing something of true value. I found myself using shopping as a stress manager. Well, eating out was a way of putting off the grueling experience of home-cooked meals. Subscriptions were a way of filling time I couldn't spend productively because of a lack of energy. None of these behaviors was inherently bad. However, none of them was intentional. These behaviors are reactive coping strategies that depleted my financial energy without feeding my soul. Now, I was able to begin to make new choices once I was honest about what was occurring. Good financial stewardship also involves enjoying life now and planning for the future. Many people have an extreme lifestyle. They neither enjoy life today and think about the future nor sacrifice today, so they can enjoy life someday in the distant future. Key to it all, balance. Yes, it's important to plan ahead by saving or investing in your future. At the same time, enjoy life as it happens. Put aside funds meant for spending on things that will bring joy in the moment. I deprived myself of simple pleasures just to save every single penny that I could. This built resentment towards money. Instead of feeling secure when I save, I felt like I was being penalized. Then I would just give in and spend impulsively, thereby blowing all my savings for months. When I began allocating funds for pleasure and experience while also allocating funds for savings, everything changed. Saving money stopped feeling like deprivation. Spending money no longer carried the burden of guilt. I had an abundance mindset when it came to money, no matter the amount. Another dimension of financial discipline is financial education. Most people take more time planning their vacations than planning their financial futures. They are more informed about their favorite TV shows than their investment options, taxes, and financial accumulation strategy. First of all, this lack of financial literacy is not your problem. Oh, we, again, do not cover this in a systematic way. But this is your job to learn. In this age of information, you can gain financial literacy if you make it a priority. I took up the challenge of reading financial books every month and listening to financial podcasts in my car while I drove to and from work. This new behavior completely upgraded my financial intelligence in just a year. I was able to grasp ideas I had previously feared attempting to understand. Financial discipline involves implementing systems that work towards helping you meet those goals. Saving automatically, investment plans, emergency funds, multiple income sources. These are not rocket science. They just need to be instituted. Many people feel intimidated when thinking about designing financial systems. They feel as if they have to know everything before they even begin. This so-called perfection leads to no progress at all. The fact is that you gain experience through implementation. Your process only becomes more complex as time goes by. I started with one automatic transfer into savings after every payday. That alone got the rhythm started. Then I automated bill payments. Wow. Then investment contributions. These steps took willpower out of the equation. It was all happening by design, with no need for decision. The absence of financial systems makes it dependent on willpower and memory, both of which are fallible. You forget to save money. You spend money meant for paying bills. You forgo an investment opportunity for lack of money on hand. Financial systems do away with such pitfalls. Financial intentionality involves saying no to those things that do not align with or contribute to the larger picture or plan or vision that you have. Social pressure to spend money on those things that you do not have any interest in. Relatives who are a source of drain on your finances. Lifestyle inflation that consumes all of your bonuses or increases. Learning how to say no to those natural requests that do not align with values is important. Learning how to say no to yourself in those situations involving emotional spending calls. Learning how to say no to other people in situations where they are seeking access to natural resources. I fought with this issue for a long time. I accepted invitations to social events that I couldn't afford because I was afraid that if I didn't go, I would miss out on fun and end up feeling even lonelier and more isolated than before. Moreover, I lent people money that I didn't have because I was under social obligation to do that. Similarly, because people needed to feel impressed by me at parties and social events, I went out and bought gifts even if they put. It's not being selfish to set financial boundaries. It's being self-respecting. It's being good to yourself. People that love you, that really love you, will respect your financial boundaries. People that don't respect your financial boundaries show you that your feelings are less important than their needs. The virtue of delayed gratification is essential as well. We live in an instant gratification society in which whatever we want is available in an instant. Want something? Just put it on your credit card. Feeling bored? There is no end to the entertainment available at the click of a button. Building wealth involves playing long games. Compound interest rates play out over time. Developing skills takes time. Expanding business also takes time. Returns on investments take time. If you only play short games, you won't be able to build financial prosperity. I wanted quick results when I began my financial change. I searched for shortcuts and a get-rich-quick plan. This cost me time and money. True wealth was created when I took consistent action over a period of years rather than months. Think about financial discipline in terms of physical fitness. You can't change your body in one training session. You can't make yourself fit in one healthy meal. However, over time, there are dramatic effects. Money, just like the body, is the same. Small financial habits lead to large financial results. Saving a little money every paycheck can translate to significant savings in the long run. Learning every day can pay off in terms of developing skills that can command better pay. The group of people struggling economically does not have this perspective. Oh no. They make choices in the present without any thought for the future. They live from paycheck to paycheck, not because they do not earn much, but because they do not plan for more than 2 weeks. I ended this cycle when I created a 5-year financial vision. What did I want to accomplish financially in 5 years? What level of income? Savings? Lifestyle? No. This financial vision served as a daily guide. When I was tempted to make an impulse purchase, I asked myself if it was helpful to my 5-year financial vision. This does not call for dwelling excessively upon tomorrow and failing to enjoy the present. It calls for direction. It calls for making present decisions with tomorrow's consequences firmly in mind. It calls for taking control of your financial tomorrow rather than falling prey to it. Financial intentionality involves associating with people who have positive financial relationships. Your financial reality is affected by the people you associate with. Surrounding yourself with people who have poor mindsets about money and make poor financial decisions can easily rub off on you. This does not mean giving up on friends and relatives. It simply means choosing relationships with individuals who personify the kind of behavior you would like to create in your finance. Mentors, communities, masterminds, and friendships with people who are financially successful can increase your money consciousness. I entered a business networking organization in which individuals had several levels of financial success. Their mindsets and approaches inspired my thinking. I immersed myself in their attitudes toward money, risk, and reward. Surrounding oneself with successful entrepreneurs definitely speeds up my personal development. You will become like the 5 people you spend the most time around. If those 5 people are broke, complaining about money, and not doing anything to change their circumstances, then you probably will be too. If the 5 people you spend the most time around are determining how to increase their wealth, then you will too. The other important aspect of exercising financial discipline is progress track. The saying goes, what gets measured gets managed. By monitoring your net worth, rate of savings, and income, you will be more accountable and motivated. I also started monitoring my net worth every month. Watching that number rise, even if it was a slow process, generated positive momentum for me. I could see the effects of my hard work. References. It also shows spending patterns which you never would have otherwise noticed. For example, You may think you have been saving money each month, only to find out that some months have passed without saving. You also might think that you have reduced spending, yet certain categories have increased. Lots of people avoid monitoring their finances because they don't want to see what they might find. No, just because you don't look doesn't necessarily mean you can just think that everything is okay. And it keeps you locked into patterns that may not be doing you any favors at all. The third sign encompasses your approach to financial difficulty. Unforeseen expenses, income irregularities, or investment losses are experienced by every individual. However, it is your approach to these difficulties that makes the difference between those who accumulate wealth and those who don't. Do you spiral into despair and give up when setbacks happen? Do you let setbacks become excuses to forego financial discipline? Do you respond by adjusting and moving ahead? Resilience matters just as much as knowledge when it comes to finances. Well, the biggest form of setback for me was the failure of a business venture. I lost some funds and felt as though all the progress I had made was for nothing. One could easily give up and resort to the old ways. Instead, this is expensive education. Why? How can this experience help me in the future? This mindset kept me in the game. Every successful person has stories of failure. What sets them apart is they don't let failures define them. They pick lessons from failures, shift strategies, and move on in their pursuit of acquiring more finances. Without self-compassion, financial discipline becomes too rigid for people to follow. You're going to make mistakes. There will be times when you'll spend money unnecessarily or fail to meet your savings target. I know. It's just the reality of being human. I used to beat myself up over every financial blunder. Guilt fueled additional binge spending or other money mistakes, and so on. However, when I realized the importance of accepting mistakes, learning from them, and then forgiving myself, and moving toward the future, the changes for the better came. Think about financial discipline as a process, not a goal. One day, you never truly finish learning, growing, and evolving in your relationship with money. There isn't a moment when you somehow understand it all and can ignore it. Of all the wealthy individuals I have encountered, they all manage their finances. They all have goals. They all continue to educate themselves. This group still makes financial decisions. These individuals are not done with their financial disciplines despite reaching figures. If anything, they are more focused. This is the continued pattern of demonstrating financial responsibility and purpose that tells money that you are to be trusted. You respect it. You handle it properly. You increase it. It will then work smoothly in your favor by flowing freely into your life because it knows that you can handle it. Now, this is where most people misunderstand these three signs. They are not three different problems. They are three related parts of the way you view your total relationship with money. Fearful thinking causes undervaluing of yourself, which means a lack of discipline. Or lack of discipline causes fears, which leads to an undervaluation of your self-worth. A complete makeover in money management involves working on all three fronts simultaneously. You cannot improve your mindset and consciously undervalue and overspend. You cannot develop discipline while you are practicing poverty mindset and lack self-esteem. This whole transformation can be intimidating. Where do you even begin when everything has to be different? The answer is easy. Start wherever. Find one small change in any of these three categories and start with that. Perhaps you begin by catching yourself in fear-based statements related to money. Each time you can pause and change the narrative. Such small habits can start to shift your mindset over time. Aye. Maybe you begin with increasing your rates 5% if you're self-employed. Maybe you start searching for what similar people in similar jobs make if you're employed. Take small steps toward appreciating yourself appropriately. Then take larger steps toward confidence. You can start by trying to track your expenses for a week. Just observe without judgment. Wow. Observing is what leads to good decision-making and being financially intentional. Progress, not perfection. Taking consistent action, not perfect action. Exponential results happen when small actions are taken consistently on a daily or weekly basis. This is how you can rebuild your relationships with money. I want to share something that took me a long time to learn. Where you are now with your finances isn't fixed unless you choose to keep repeating the patterns that gave you that situation. If money doesn't love you now, that's not a permanent state of affairs. It just indicates areas to improve. Every instant is an opportunity for you to choose differently. You can think differently about money from this moment on. Oh no. You can think differently about money right now. You can value yourself differently this day. You can make one different financial decision within this upcoming hour. These are cumulative decisions. This is the beauty of transformation. Every better decision makes it easier to make another better decision. Every small victory promotes greater victories. With every improvement to your money mindset, different things are attractive. Try thinking back to where you were 5 years ago and what state your finances were in. If you had started making other choices 5 years ago, where would you be at this point? This same logic also applies to what the future holds. This isn't about regret over past mistakes. We all wish we'd begun earlier or whatever we could have done differently. But you're now in a position with a realization that you could not have had. That realization can be powerful if you use it well. Those people who manage to turn around their financial lives are neither lucky nor exceptional in their capability. It is people who identify all these patterns and make changes accordingly that make progress in their life. You can do the same from today itself. I want to be real with you on this journey. It is not always an easy process. You will experience moments of questioning. You will be tempted to fall back into old ways when change is an uncomfortable experience for you. Surrounding factors may not accommodate your change decisions. People may question and criticize your change process. This is perfectly normal. Resistance is always met during any sort of real change, both internal and external. Resistance does not mean you are doing something incorrectly. It simply indicates you are shifting patterns of behavior which, while not helping or benefiting you in the long run, were comfortable nonetheless. I encountered criticism because I became more selective with my rates. People who previously benefited from cheap prices were unhappy because I changed prices. Friends who previously knew they could rely on me for anything resented my new boundaries for my time, which almost pushed me back into old ways. However, I recalled the reason for this transformation. I got back on track with my vision of abundance. I reminded myself that discomfort is part of the growth and development process. Instead, I overcame the challenges and found that the people and opportunities that were meant for me arrived when I cleared out the space that was occupied by undesired elements. You'll also feel this. Certain relationships may change or even end as a consequence of changing your attitude towards money. Certain opportunities will close down while other opportunities open up. This is the universal shift to align with the current frequency. Trust the process even if you don't see the big picture. Trust that recognizing your worth helps you attract people who value you. Trust that living with financial responsibility provides time and room for abundance. Trust that a change in your mindset leads you to doors you have yet to envision. Hey, I want to acknowledge the shame you may feel about your own current financial circumstances. Shame is a poison. Shame is what keeps you stuck. Perhaps you owe a lot of money. Perhaps you've made awful money choices. Perhaps you're older and feel as though you should be further along. None of that is important except for the directions of where you should go next. Hey, shame in the past will prevent you from taking action within the present. They will hold you back within patterns of behavior that aren't working for you. Let the shame go. Forgive yourself. Every successful person in finance has experienced mistakes. Some have had experiences with bankruptcy, failure, and crushing losses. Their difference lies in the fact that they didn't let themselves be defined by these experiences. Your financial history doesn't have to be your financial future. You are not defined by what happened in the past in terms of money, namely what your lowest balance has been or what financial mistakes you've made. This mindset change is liberating. It releases you from the burden of previous failure and makes room for possibilities to enter. It enables you to look forward to a financial change with curiosity and hope instead of guilt and fear. As you work on these three areas, you will find that changes begin to develop in other areas as well. You will find changes in other areas because money affects all of these areas in your life. Hey, you stop fearing and thinking fearfully about money when you stop fearing and thinking fearfully about other things. You begin to value yourself when you begin to value yourself financially. When you learn to be disciplined with money, you learn to be disciplined with your health, time, and personal development. This ripple effect is exactly why financial transformation is so potent. It's not actually about the money, which does get better, mind you. It's about becoming the person that effortlessly attracts and handles abundance in all forms. I changed from a person who lived check to check, earning decent money, to a person who had multiple sources of income, was saving, and was investing. The more significant change, however, was personal. I became a person who is confident, intentional, and self-respecting, reaching far beyond my financial management. This inner change is what maintains the outer outcome. If somehow the next morning you gained huge wealth without the inner change, chances are you'll find yourself losing it soon. We hear stories about lottery winners going from riches to rags. Outer wealth without inner transformation doesn't last. And that is exactly why this inner work is so important. You see, you're not only working towards earning more money, you're actually transforming into someone who can generate and radiate abundance effortlessly, something that no one can ever take away from you. Let's discuss everyday practices to implement these changes. Your daily life either supports patterns of poverty or patterns of wealth. Small, everyday practices are far more influential to your financial reality than occasional, dramatic ones. Begin your day with intention rather than reaction. Start your day by spending 5 minutes reflecting on your financial vision. Envision your goals. Embrace the feelings that come from achieving them. Form your financial intentions for the day. This easy habit conditions your brain to think abundantly rather than in terms of fear. It establishes a positive mindset pattern that impacts thousands of micro decisions throughout the day. This daily habit eventually conditions your subconscious mindset related to finances. Practice gratitude for the money you already have instead of dwelling on what you are lacking. Each time you pay a bill, express gratitude for the money providing you what you require. You can acknowledge the money you receive by expressing gratitude for it. I started expressing thanks to money each time I used it. Thank you for this food. Thank you for this safe home. Thank you for this opportunity. It sounded silly at first, but it changed my emotional connection with money from anxiety to appreciation. Make one financial decision. Evaluate a subscription and end it if it doesn't help you. Learn about one investment available. Read 10 pages of an investing book. Create an updated budget. Record how you spend money. Every small activity strengthens the muscle of discipline. Such micro decisions may appear insubstantial when made, but their effect is exponential when accumulated over a period of time. Taking a year of making deliberate financial decisions can bring a huge difference. This is not a matter of being perfect. It is a question of being consistent. End your day by acknowledging financial successes, no matter how small they may be. Stuck to the budget? That's a win. Negotiated for a discount? Wow. Learned something new about investing? In a Finance Wins journal each day, I list one finance victory. Sometimes this is momentous, a huge sale or investment windfall. Other times the victory is minuscule, fighting off an impulse buy. All counts as a win, and together they add up to proof that I'm turning my financial life around. These are habits that may appear simplistic, even too simplistic, to actually bring positive impact. This is why most people neglect practicing them. They are in search of something very complicated and action-oriented. However, positive changes can only occur by performing simple habits. Consider what skills it is that you personally know how to do. For example, it could be sports, music, languages, or craft. All of these things required repetition of fundamentals in order to master them. Mastery of finances follows the same idea. Another highly effective practice is getting inspiration from all around you. You can read biographies of people who created wealth. You can follow people and pages that offer healthy money practices and beliefs on social media platforms. You can listen to podcasts related to money growth. Your inputs determine your outputs. If you are constantly consuming information about struggle, lack, and financial struggle, you are living in that world. If you are consuming information about abundance and financial growth, you are living in that world as well. I carefully selected the things that I consumed, which assisted me in my financial change. I quit watching the news that focused on economic Armageddon. I unfollowed accounts that showcased struggle and poverty. I pursued things that heightened my financial awareness. It's not a matter of turning your back on reality, of living in a dream. It's a matter of what you concentrate on. You can always find evidence for both emptiness and abundance in the world. You get what you concentrate on. Talking about focus, you have to pay attention to how you speak about money and finances to yourself. This will determine your reality more than any other factors. If you are always speaking negatively about money to yourself, then you will have a negative reality. Begin to monitor your self-talk when it comes to money. Do you call yourself a bad money manager? Do you say you will never be able to move ahead? Do you predict failure before making an attempt at your financial goal? When you hear yourself engaging in negative self-talk, you pause and change it around. For example, instead of "I'm terrible with money," you say "I'm learning to manage money better." And instead of "I'll never be wealthy," you say "I'm building my wealth step by step." Realizing that my inner monologue about money issues was very hard on myself, that I treated myself in ways that I wouldn't even consider speaking to others, took care of that problem. Try to be patient with yourself through this process. It takes time to overcome years and decades of patterns. You don't see immediate results, but rest assured that it is working in the background. Others quit too soon since they look for instantaneous changes. They try to change their mindset about money in a week and are surprised that they are still not rich. No! They apply discipline in a month and become frustrated since they are not seeing drastic changes. Now consider the example of planting a tree. You put the seed into the ground and water it regularly. Then, for maybe weeks and months, you do not see anything. It may seem like you are not accomplishing anything. However, one day a sprout emerges. With time, the sprout develops into a sapling, then finally into a tree that provides shade, fruits, and more. But this can only be achieved by first taking the time to nurture the growth that cannot be seen. Your financial change is no different either. The work you are putting in presently has just begun to take root. Even though you may not notice any dramatic changes outside, something is definitely happening on the inside. This has happened in my own experience and in others whom I've coached. People are working their relationship with money for many months, and nothing appears to happen. Then, out of the blue, everything changes. Opportunities materialize. Money flows in. This is not magic. This is what happens as a result of your internal work. The universe was shifting to the same vibration all along. Sometimes it takes time for your internal changes to reflect in the outer world. Trust in divine timing and take your own actions. Do not just sit around and daydream with visions of wealth while not putting in any work. And again, do not underestimate the role of working within to manifest successful outcomes. Take inspired action. This involves taking actions out of excitement and possibility, as opposed to taking actions out of fear and need. If opportunities beckon you, respond. If ideas thrill you, pursue them. If development invites you, even when it makes you uncomfortable, head in that direction. Well, I used to act out of fear. Fear of not having enough. Fear of missing out. Fear of being left behind. This action out of fear was draining and usually ended in poor results. When I began acting out of inspiration, everything just seemed to flow. Inspired action. Inspired action does not mean waiting until you are ready. You can never be ready enough for the big leaps. That implies that you are already taking steps in the direction of what excites you, rather than in the opposite direction of what fears. Now let's consider a common question. Suppose you really do have financial limitations. You are overwhelmed by debt. You barely make ends meet to begin with. Does the power of mindset make a difference when things are this tough? Absolutely yes. This is when this work is most important to you. Your current situation was a result of your previous thoughts, beliefs, and actions. If you keep reacting to your situations this way, your situations will not change. Change on the outside can only happen when changes occur on the inside. What this doesn't mean is denial of reality and ignoring problems that exist. What it means is that problems can be acknowledged and worked on simultaneously with the thought patterns that produced problems. The reality is, I was deeply in debt before embarking on this body of work. That is, I had genuine bills and genuine limitations. The mindset work did not somehow overnight eliminate the debt. It shifted my attitude about the debt. Rather than avoiding and being ashamed about the debt, I developed a plan for paying it off. This change in me triggered some changes around me. I looked for ways of making additional money. I shortlisted some expenses that I could reduce without feeling deprived. I also managed to negotiate terms that were much better from my creditors. Opportunities started opening that had previously seemed shut forever. So yes, work on it, no matter what is happening in your life. Although it is even more important when it is challenging, because that is when you need the empowerment and possibility of changing your money consciousness the most. Remember, some of the richest individuals began with nothing, or with homelessness. The difference that those individuals had in comparison with people in similar environments had nothing to do with luck. The difference had everything to do with mindset. They didn't allow their surroundings to be who they are. You can do the same thing. Your present financial situation does not determine your potential. Your past mistakes do not determine your future. The patterns you see in your family do not have to carry over into your life. You are the one who gets to create a different path and a different financial history. It may seem extreme, but I am quite serious here. There has to be a member of your family who begins the process that creates true prosperity. Why not you? There must be a break from the patterns of poverty, scarcity, and lack. Why not you? Someone must emerge above their conditions and begin a new reality. Why not you? These aren't rhetorical questions. Take them seriously. What does it mean for you to be the ancestor that future generations will be thankful for changing the financial course of your family's history? What does it mean to your children or future children to pass down healthy money attitudes as opposed to living within poverty cycles? This gives your financial transformation purpose that extends beyond personal comfort level. You are working towards a cause that is bigger than accumulating money for your enjoyment. You are unlocking freedom for your generations that are coming after you. This is a consideration that keeps revolving in my mind. My grandchildren shall never know what it means for their parent to lack financial struggles, because they are the ones with whom I shall alter the trends, because they shall benefit from wealth awareness and finances that eluded me before. As you embark on this journey, you will inevitably meet critics. Critics who believe that mindset development is nonsensical. Critics who believe that everything is controlled by external variables. Critics who laugh at the notion that changing one's mindset will translate to improved economic conditions. Don't let them throw you off track. They are communicating based on their limited perspectives and experience. Your transformation doesn't depend on their understanding and agreement. Keep moving on, and let the results speak for themselves. Rather, the best way to counter skeptics is by being living proof. When your life has transformed, an argument becomes irrelevant. When financial abundance flows into your life, due to this inner work, the proof becomes louder than an argument. I used to debate others who did not recognize the value of this kind of work. I wanted to prove to them that it was valid and necessary. Later on, I realized that energy spent on that would have been wasted. Rather, I concentrated on my own personal development. Several years after that, those same skeptics asked me how they could change their own financial situations as dramatically as I had. Protect your energy and attention. You don't need everyone else on board with your evolution. That is perfectly okay. Find groups and people who are. Connect and celebrate with others doing the same work. Now we should briefly discuss the spiritual side of money. It's possible to change the way you handle money, even if you aren't spiritual. But relating money to energy could be an important insight for most people. Everything is energy operating at a different frequency. Money is not an exception. As you vibrate at the frequencies of lack, fear, and scarcity, you attract experiences of the same kind. As you vibrate at the frequencies of abundance, possibilities, and gratitude, you attract different experiences. Ah, this isn't magical thinking. This is physics for life. Your emotions and thoughts produce energy frequencies that affect what happens in your life. This explains why two people in the same circumstances can end up in entirely different ways depending on their attitude. I approach it both practically and energetically. Wow. Practically, that means things like budgeting, investing, and earning more money. Energetically, it means working on my mindset, visualization, and emotion around money. Ah, practical versus energetic. You might lean more towards the practical or the energetic based on your personality. That's totally okay. Just don't neglect one over the other. A. Practical followed by mindset work equals struggling hard. Mindset work followed by planning equals living in a dream world. This is where the inner work and outer implementation meet. This is where the real magic occurs. This is where the accelerated change takes place. This is where you become people naturally generating and attracting money. While approaching the end, there is something important that needs to be highlighted. It is not a quick solution. You do not read these words, put the work into practice for a few weeks, and achieve financial freedom, never referring back to it again. Wealth building is a lifelong process. It takes dedication to maintain a positive money relationship. Your finances will go through seasons of abundance and seasons of struggle. The secret is staying committed to the principles regardless of what is happening in your finances. I still work on my relationship with money every day, even though my circumstances in life are deeply different in terms of finances. I still catch myself thinking in terms of limitation and limit myself by reframing those beliefs. I still practice self-worth. The difference is, it's become natural as opposed to forced. These patterns, at this point, are who I am, not something I do. That's the point. For these healthy money patterns to be your natural way. This occurs through consistency. The more each day that you apply these principles, the more they will be imprinted in your mind. The longer your mind practices abundance mentality as opposed to scarcity mentality, the easier it will be. Consider driving a car. At first, all the actions had to be performed by your conscious mind. Check the mirrors, signal the turn, accelerate the vehicle, apply the brake. It all took a lot out of you. Now you do all the actions automatically. Your financial changeover is no different. Currently, it takes some effort to catch and change negative thought. To place worth on yourself is awkward and difficult. It takes a lot of self-discipline. When this occurs, when positive money behaviors are the norm, then money and financial abundance come more easily. Since you are no longer fighting the inner programming, you are able to work with positive programming meant for wealth building. Be gentle with yourself during this awkward learning period. You'll forget practices. You'll fall back into old patterns from time to time. You'll make mistakes. This is just part of this process. What's important is the recovery. When you spot yourself falling into scarcity mindset, acknowledge the thought, but don't judge it. Then make different choices. When you catch yourself not seeing the value in yourself, get back on track. When your discipline wavers, begin anew the next day. Progress isn't linear. You'll see great days and tough days, weeks of progress and weeks of struggle. This happens in the natural course of progress. You can't let the difficult times lead you to believe the effort isn't worth it or that it's not working. There certainly have been moments within my transformation where I've felt a degree of skepticism about what I was trying to achieve. Moments where it seemed as if nothing was happening even as I continued to work at it. And the breakthrough always came after I had considered walking away. The major breakthrough occurred after the greatest uncertainty. There had been enough of this cycle for me to learn to trust in the process even when it couldn't be seen. These same experiences will likely happen to you. Before a big breakthrough, resistance may very well intensify. And resistant patterns will vigorously fight back just before they are let go. Doubt will shout its loudest message just prior to attaining certainty. As you change your relationship with money through these three categories, the rest of your life will change. Money affects every area. Your self-perception affects every relationship. Resource management affects every area of your life. Hey. What? Well, your mentality affects every outcome. A financial transformation leads to a life transformation. This is the true gift of this work. Yes, you'll get more money. This is great and very important. But you'll gain more confidence, peace, and freedom. You'll make choices out of plenty rather than out of fear. You'll chase your dreams rather than just existing. And you'll make a difference rather than just barely surviving. This is for you, not in the future, not when the world turns upside down, but now, this moment. You can decide to think about money in a different way. You can decide to appreciate yourself appropriately. You can decide to act intentionally. Every decision shapes your economic future. Every thought builds your economic reality. Oh no. Every action either perpetuates the past or forges the future. Realize how much more powerful you are than you think. The three signs that money doesn't love you are not fixed. They are patterns that you choose to change. Feeling fear about money can change to possibility thought. Undervaluing yourself changes to healthy self-esteem. Undisciplined use of money changes to disciplined money management. These changes do not call for perfection. These changes call for commitment. These changes do not call for you to have all knowledge before embarking on them. These changes call on you to begin and learn as you go. Now, I believe in you and your power to transform your relationship with money because I have seen it happen so many times. I have lived it. I have coached people through it. I have witnessed regular people achieve an extraordinary life through this inner and outer work. You're not different. You're not the exception who can't succeed. You're not damaged beyond repair or stuck forever. You're someone learning to have a healthy relationship with money, and it can happen for anyone who is willing to do the work. Therefore, look for these three signs in your own life. Get honest with yourself about where you are. Recognize these patterns without judgment. Then start making different choices. Choose abundance mentality over fear. Choose self-worth over undervaluing. Choose discipline over default. Choose these options every day, every tomorrow, every next day. See how your financial reality changes as a result. The money will begin to love you once you start showing up in relationship with it in a new way. You can start treating it with respect and taking good care of it. You can start believing that you deserve it. That is your invitation to change. Not some distant promise that change will happen someday. Change happens now. Your financial independence starts with your decision about a new relationship with money. That is your choice. Your future self will thank you for starting today. Your family will appreciate the habits you shatter and those that you build. Your life will expand in ways that you will not be able to imagine. The problem is not that you can't change your relationship with money. This is a question of whether or not you will. Will you do the work? Will you stick with it when it gets hard? Will you trust that it is working when you can't see it? If your answer is yes, then start today. Observe your thoughts about money today. Appreciate the value you bring to one exchange today. Hey. Make one deliberate money choice today. To start this change, these 3 steps will work. Tomorrow, repeat these steps again and again, every day and every week, every single month. Before you know it, your financial world will be completely different from what it is right now. Oh. Your money will love you because you have now become someone who loves himself. Someone who thinks big thoughts and acts big. You are that person becoming. Trust the process. Trust yourself. Start now.